Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here, and welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, July 3, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so taking a look at this post that was made here on our Twitter page today, we highlighted the fact that today was the anniversary of Hurricane Beryl affecting Jamaica. So it states here, today in hurricane history, 1 year ago on July 3, 2024, Hurricane Beryl passed Jamaica as a powerful Category 4 storm, bringing extreme winds and torrential rainfall, causing 4 fatalities and racking up $995 million in damages. Do you remember this hurricane? And there were definitely comments that came in of people who actually remember this storm. This genius here, all remember that. Marcel Lewis, but I didn't have electricity for a month. Briss, a time I don't want to relive. Sharina Walker, some people still haven't recovered fully. Even on our Instagram page, we had the comments coming in. We have the great Jojo official stating, remember it like it was yesterday. Take down the pear tree with the biggest pear them. Beryl just quint up lashes and the place get breezy. We also have _golden.girl_1 stating, it took off my entire roof before 3:30 p.m. But thanks be to God, we built stronger. We also have Gary and C.__ sitting. Of course, remember. Think me dead. We have Tina.pretty_girl sitting. How can I forget when I was without light for 4 weeks? Even on our Facebook page, we have the comments coming in. One here from Rose Catty. To zoom in a bit. Stating that witch make tree drop on my house, now forget her. Carla Rattray sitting, our nickname for her was Beryl. Amanda Blake, yes I do remember. We have Latoya Taylor, yes I remember. Can't forget how she damaged my father's house. Shawnee Reynolds, the old woman Beryl, and Lance Brown sitting, yeah I remember. Well, we're glad that we're done with Beryl and we didn't see a repeat this year for sure, but the hurricane season is still young. Hopefully nothing like that ever happens again in our lifetime at all. Because boy, you see the impacts, the flooding, the damage, the power outages, mosquitoes having us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner when there's power outages. We don't want anything like that anytime soon. Alright, so we need to highlight some expert insight here from Ben Knoll. He is actually a global weather writer meteorologist for the Washington Post, who from time to time makes some very accurate posts about what's expected in the Atlantic during hurricane season. And he made this post today stating atmospheric conditions look rather hostile towards significant tropical development in the Atlantic during the weeks ahead, with dry, dusty, stable, and sinking air. Forcing patterns appear most conducive to tropical systems in the Pacific, and this is what he's referring to right here. As you can see in this video that he posted, the dry sinking air is represented by the oranges into the green colors that we can see definitely situated across the Atlantic over here where we reside, and that is valid from July 4. Especially July 4. So tomorrow, July 4, look at the deep greens. Then July 12, still having a lot of sinking air from July 4 all the way to July 12. Still have some sinking air, but nothing as robust as what's expected over the next 2 weeks. Then by July 28th, we see a lot of it across the eastern Pacific. But what we should note is the blues, the greens into the blues. That's definitely situated across the western Pacific. And we also see that by the end of the month, a lot of it starts to set up shop across sections of Africa. So could that be setting up shop for some of these tropical waves to roll off of Africa and push into our neck of the woods? We just have to wait and find out. Clearly by the end of the month, there should be some kind of change coming, but for the next 2 weeks, definitely dry, sinking air, stable conditions, Saharan dust, not really much in the way of rainfall at all. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather look that came out at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:32 p.m. 7:32 p.m., which is actually 6:32 p.m. Jamaica time. We can still see that we have that code orange right here off the southeast coast of the US that has a medium chance of development within the next 7 days. You can see all of the showers and the thunderstorms across section of Florida, southern Georgia right here. Definitely setting the stage for us to come out to sea right here to the east of Florida regarding that system. And we know that if something should form out of it, the next name on the list is Chantal. Let's just read what the Hurricane Center has stated in their latest post. So they've stated here, disorganized showers and thunderstorms across the Florida Peninsula eastward to the adjacent waters of the southwestern Atlantic Ocean are associated with a weak surface trough, low pressure. Environmental conditions are forecast to become more conducive for development, and a tropical or subtropical depression could form in this region over the weekend while the system drifts northward or northeastward. Regardless of development, heavy rainfall is possible across portions of west, central, and southwestern Florida through early Saturday and across coastal sections of the Carolinas beginning later on Saturday. And we also see that they've stated here an Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft is scheduled to investigate the system on Friday if necessary, and they've given the system a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 60% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. So let's see if we actually get Chantal out of this system. Alright, so let us see what's going on the eastern Pacific side of things. We can see that we have now post-tropical cyclone Flossie. So it's no longer a tropical storm, definitely losing the strength, dissipating over the cooler waters. And to the southeast of that, we have that area that has a high chance of development within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the infrared right here, we can make out the clouds associated with Flossie right here, X-Flossie. And the clouds associated with what's trying to formulate to the southeast of there that has a high chance of development. Notice we're not seeing much convection with Flossie, but there's still some circulation within there. Looking at the visible before we lost sunlight over here, we can definitely see the spin associated, well, that low level spin associated with the low pressure area around that center. Not much in the way of convection. There's actually even more convection across section of Mexico. Wherever we have these yellow dots, that's where we have a lot of deep convection, lightning strikes, lightning flashes for sure. We also see that there's a lot of convection regarding that system to the southeast of there that could become the next name on the list, which is Gil. And according to the Hurricane Center, they've stated here, a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms, partly associated with a tropical wave, is centered a few hundred miles south of southern Mexico. Gradual development of this system is expected during the next few days, and a tropical depression is likely to form later this weekend or early next week, while it moves generally west and northwestward, well off the coast of Mexico. And we see that they've given the system a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and an 80% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. However, on the western Pacific side of things, we're looking at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center here. We still have that code red right here to the southeast of China, right here affecting the Philippines. And we still have that tropical storm that's Mon right here to the southeast of Japan. And we can make out all of these even better on the infrared. The deep convection associated with that code red, that could become the next tropical depression or tropical storm right here. Definitely looking even more impressive. And we can see the clouds associated with tropical storm Mon right here to the southeast of Japan. We have Japan right in here. We have North and South Korea in here. We have China right in here. We have Taiwan right in here. So according to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, the tropical storm Mon is expected to push out towards the north, then to the northeast, then to the north again. And we see that it is currently packing maximum sustained winds of 60 knots. So we know anywhere from 39 to 64 knots is tropical storm status. So it's definitely a high-end tropical storm, closer to hurricane status than to tropical depression status. And according to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, it should actually make it up in intensity 65 knots, 70 knots. And we know that in order to become a hurricane, they need a criteria of 65 to 83 knots. So if it's going to be getting it up to 70 knots, definitely a category 1 hurricane is what is expected of tropical storm Mon. And as you can see, it's going to be staying out to sea, so it's not really going to be affecting the Japanese islands one bit. So I'm glad, well, I'm sure they're happy about that. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the ridge of high pressure right here to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see a tropical wave right here, actually across Jamaica as we speak, but boy, we're not really getting on much rainfall at all. We can see a trough right here to the north of the Leeward Island, a tropical wave right here to the east of the Lesser Antilles, another tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And we know all of these tropical waves are moving from east to west in that easterly flow brought about by the ridge of high pressure to the north, not to mention the Saharan dust pushing through from east to west. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out all of these entities. First of all, the clouds associated with that code orange that could become the next name system of the southeast coast of the US. There is some tropical waves somewhere in here, but most of the moisture clearly down in here to the south of Jamaica, pushing from east to west. The surface map also highlighted that there's another tropical wave right in here to the east, especially of the Windward Islands. Another tropical wave somewhere in here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And we know we can also make out the low level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. And let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, July 3, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast for parts of eastern Jamaica on Thursday morning, also affecting sections of some northern and western parishes during Thursday afternoon. And we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. While northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. And what ended up happening? At around 7:51 a.m., the visible satellite image was posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at that time, we saw some clouds coming into portions of St. Thomas, Portland. We also saw some clouds right here off the coast of St. Mary. Definitely bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, mainly to the east and the northeast. Then, by around 4:05 p.m., the visible satellite images were posted, and they highlighted that there were indeed some clouds across not only the western areas like Westmoreland and Hanover, but even sections of St. James, maybe Trelawney, so more so northwestern areas for sure. Definitely seeing more clear skies across the south and the east this afternoon. just as predicted. And if we take a look back at the visible satellite images, we can make out all of what took place. Most of the clouds pushing off to the west of Westmoreland and Hanover, and clearly more clear skies across the central to the eastern sections, maybe some partly cloudy skies in the east, but that's basically it. The infrared right here just showing some high cirrus clouds being streaked off towards the south. We mentioned this yesterday, the upper level wind shear blowing those cloud hops from Cuba off to the south. Nothing really significant at all taking place today one bit. And the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel confirms it. Definitely sunny and windy across the corporate area. Looking down, looking towards New Kingston. Definitely sunny conditions for the most part. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place. This was at around 2:10 p.m. right here on the Kingston Panoramic City View. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit C Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture of where we might have had that rainfall today, mainly across sections of some eastern parishes in the morning and across sections of some northern and northwestern parishes during the afternoon. We definitely have some comments right here from some of our followers about what the weather is like in their area today. We have Latoya Taylor, sun hot and breeze a blow. And even on our Instagram page, we had Marlon_OneGod_, sitting cloudy in Clarendon with the Jamaica. Thank you for confirming. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let us see what's happening right now. The latest still image is showing 0155 UTC, which is actually 8:55 p.m. So this just came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it is 9:06 p.m. right now. As you can see, just some high cirrus clouds still streaking out to the south. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place. The latest Cuban Doppler radar, we're reloading that. The latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, we're reloading that. And the latest Cayman radar are going to be confirming what we're seeing. So the Cuban Doppler radar right here, unfortunately, looks like it glitched out this morning when we're getting in on that rainfall across the east and the northeast, Portland, section of St. Mary for sure, with the moderate to some slightly heavy rainfall at around what? This looks like 8:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is actually 7:10 a.m. Jamaica time. So we definitely got on that morning rainfall at that time. Wish it was showing what's happening now. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar not really showing much of anything across southeastern Cuba, the western peninsula of Haiti, or the northeastern portion of Jamaica at this time. The Cayman radar is showing some light to some slightly moderate rainfall across section of Cuba. We don't see much of anything across the Cayman Islands or western Jamaica at all. Taking a look at what's happening right now, the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel showing downtown Kingston. We see definitely the usual street vendors right here. Looking like they've camped up or set up shop. Nothing really significant taking place in terms of bad weather. Definitely fair conditions expected. As you can see here, this is expected to continue. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some grays and some slight yellows that represents average to at least 1 degree Celsius above average temperatures. I know the average temperature for the month of July across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, 91 degrees Fahrenheit is the equivalent of 32.8 degrees Celsius. So should be receiving anywhere from 32.8 to 33.8 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Friday. And unfortunately, we have a few maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online Twitter page that we have to highlight. And we know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Friday, July 4, 2025. We're referring to Islington to Rosen in the parish of St. Mary from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., as well as Anglesey, if I'm not butchering that place's name, in the parish of St. Andrew from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. Dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty. And put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see the abundance of dry air across the entire Atlantic basin, especially right here across the waters of the main development region into portion of Africa. Lots of dry, stable air, sinking air. It's already started. A lot of dry air taking shape. One of the dry air is responsible for, limiting the amount of moisture in and around the area. We have some moist air in the blues and wherever we have the clouds across the southwestern Atlantic. Wherever we have that air that has a high chance of, a medium chance of development. Across the southeast coast, the northern Gulf, some moist air there. The eastern Pacific, moist air. Northern South America into the intertropical convergence zone. As usual, that's nothing new. We wish we had more moist air across the basin though, so that we get more rainfall, more clouds, that we get more water in our pipes. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, so we're heading into July 4. As you can see here, we're still going to be in the clear for the most part. There's some slight Saharan dust, but by July 5 into especially July 6, the Saharan dust should be making a comeback. We see the oranges, we see the pinks. That's a decent plume of Saharan dust that's going to be passing through. Hope you have your meds handy. We know the Saharan dust can be definitely triggering some respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis. But as you can see behind that, we should be getting in on a break right in here behind that, but clearly we have more Saharan dust behind that break for sure. So it's usual fluctuations, dwindling, and then Saharan dust outbreak, then dwindling. As usual, that's nothing new. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, across the Caribbean, as usual, the highest waves are to the south of Jamaica, to the north of Colombia. However, we have the dark blues into the purples. That's representing what we see here on the key on the bottom right. That's the 2 to 2.5 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see that strong easterly flow with the greens and the yellows. That represents anywhere from 15 to 20 to 25 knot winds. And if we zoom in a bit on Jamaica regarding our wave forecast, to the north of Portland tomorrow 1 meter wave height, to the south of St. Thomas 1.5 meter wave height, to the north of St. Anne 0.9 of a meter wave height, to the south of Clarendon 0.8 of a meter wave height, to the south of Westmoreland 0.8 of a meter wave height, to the north of Hanover 0.4 of a meter wave height. And that's because of the wind that are expected. We clearly see that easterly flow across the island, and nothing really strong. 13 knots to the north of St. Anne, 12 knots to the north of Portland, 14 knots to the south of St. Thomas, 14 knots to the south of Clarendon, and we also see 10 knots right here to the south of Westmoreland. And we see where the air, it looks like it's going to be piling up. Could be across sections of some central and western parishes, if not some northern and western parishes. That's where we could have those low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And the upper-level winds still should be coming in from the north, more so from the north-northeast tomorrow. So if we actually get some convection, those cloud tops would be sheared off towards the south, something similar to what we're already seeing regarding the upper-level clouds, the high cirrus clouds that are being streaked out towards the south, but it's going to be more so from north-northeast to maybe south-southwest. And regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. We see on the Euro, the blues represent rainfall across sections of mainly central parishes, maybe section of northern, section of some southern parishes, and southern sections of some northern parishes. The GFS, on the other hand, is focusing more of that rainfall across northern parishes. Very interesting. We'll see how this actually plays out. My bet is more so on what the Euro is showing, especially with that upper level wind shear blowing those cloud tops off towards the south. And let's see, the low level flow looks to be coming in from the east, maybe curving downward. Let's see what the GFS shows. Very, very interesting. We see a lot of a southeasterly kind of flow. It could definitely favor the north coast. We'll see how it actually plays out tomorrow. But I'm definitely going to be leaning more so towards a central and western parishes kind of forecast during the afternoon. And even the total accumulated precipitation for the next 24 hours from the Caribbean, well, from the Weather Nerds website, are showing that it's going to be raining especially across the western end of the island tomorrow. The euro even more robust, getting into the yellows, maybe 0.4 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS definitely less, or up to 0.16 of an inch of rainfall. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it. We're in a dry period, we're in July. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive around 50 millimeters of rainfall for the month. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive around 3.2 inches of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of July or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com and that website to show that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so we just looked at Friday's forecast. Let us see what is in store for Saturday. We're going to be looking at the next 7 days actually. So just like what the Hurricane Center would do with their 7-day graphical tropical weather looks, that's what's going to be taking place. The first thing that stands out is the amount of isobars that we see circulating the area of low pressure right here off the southeast of the US. So could we have a possible tropical storm Chantal or a tropical depression right in here? We see a lot of moisture on the east side of the low pressure, greens into the yellows, the oranges and reds. Very interesting. But let us go out to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days, to see what's going to be taking place, especially across Jamaica right here. Let us see if we see more of this, the reds, the oranges and the yellows and even the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So 7 a.m. which is 12Z, that's what we see off the southeast coast of the US. On the euro, maybe some isolated showers in the slight greens across the far eastern end of Jamaica. Then on Saturday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes in the greens across the entire island. Let's see if we have the agreement on the GFS. Don't see the rainfall in the morning across Jamaica. On Saturday afternoon, it seems to be some rainfall across western Jamaica. Let us see what Sunday morning brings. On Sunday morning, we actually see some moisture to the south of Jamaica. On Sunday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers across sections of some central and western parishes. As the GFS shows, Sunday morning, rainfall across the far east. It's not necessarily to the south of us like what the Euro was showing. Sunday afternoon, rainfall across some central and western parishes. That's what Monday brings. Monday morning, not really much of anything. Monday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some eastern and central parishes. That's what the GFS shows. Monday morning, maybe some isolated showers across the far eastern end. Monday afternoon, very interesting. We're seeing rainfall across sections of some southern and western parishes. Let us see what Tuesday morning shows. On Tuesday morning, not seeing much. Tuesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some central and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Rainfall out east for Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Very interesting, these afternoon rainfalls. Wednesday morning, what do we see? Some rainfall across the far eastern end of the island. Wednesday afternoon, we see some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for about what? Thursday, July 10, and we see the rainfall across the southeastern end of the island. Let us see what the GFS brings. Wednesday morning, we see rainfall more so to the northeast of us, to the west of us. Wednesday afternoon, we see rainfall across the northern and western end of the island. And then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. Don't see much of anything across Jamaica at that time, so we have some contrast. Rainfall across the southeast on the Euro for that time. Not much of anything on the GFS. Very interesting. Either way, in terms of the next 7 days, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall, as usual, is going to be across sections of Central America and Northern South America, wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. That's the 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall for sure. So those areas could definitely pick up some isolated flash flooding as usual. While we're seeing more so greens into the yellows, oranges, and reds, represents at least up to 1 inch of rainfall or less for sections of Florida, the Bahamas, the Greater Antilles, and the Lesser Antilles for sure. But regarding Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, let us find Jamaica. So for the next 7 days, regarding our little country right here, pretty sure that there's not much change. The most rainfall over the next 7 days here on the Euro should be across the far eastern end of the island, maybe some greens into the yellows, 51 millimeters of rainfall. Let us see what the GFS shows. We see that we should be getting in on some amount of rainfall, more so across the western end of the island, the greens into the yellows into the oranges. That represents anywhere from 15 millimeters of rainfall, maybe up to 50 millimeters of rainfall. We see some contrast. The Euro showing the most rainfall out east, the GFS showing the most rainfall out west. Whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the rest of the Caribbean is receiving. We can definitely see that we have some rainfall across the far eastern Caribbean. We see some rainfall across sections of Costa Rica, Panama. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the rest of the Caribbean, we can definitely see, hold on, let it load. We should be seeing most of that rainfall across the waters to the north of Puerto Rico. Let us go over there and see. Okay, so we see some isolated shores to the north of Puerto Rico, some isolated shores across sections of the Leeward Islands right here and the greens. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can make out some rainfall pushing into section of Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada. We can see some rainfall into section of Tobago, pushing into section of Trinidad. If we take a look at the wide view of Doppler radar images right here, we can make out some rainfall across sections of Florida, pushing down. So they're definitely getting nailed by that low pressure system. If we take a look, we can see some rainfall also across sections of Colombia, some rainfall pushing in from east-west into portion of the Yucatan and Belize, some rainfall across northeastern Venezuela. And if we look closely, we can see some rainfall to the east of Trinidad pushing towards the west. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall over the next 24 hours should, as usual, be across section of Northern South America, into section of Central America, wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. That's at least up to 1 inch or more of rainfall across sections of Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. We also see some rainfall expected for portions of Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba. While we see some rainfall definitely expected, all courtesy of the tropical wave, for sections of the Windward Islands especially. So anywhere from Dominica southward, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados for sure. Those areas could definitely get in on some amount of rainfall. We see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with that forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.